Hey, hi, good morning. So this video is related to the blog which I've already written, and it is more about how to get the data from the front end and save the data into the database by performing few of the operations into the back end. So the tech stack which is being used here, that is the on a front end, it is a React.js which I have used. On a back end, I have used the Express, and for the database, it is MongoDB. Okay, so I will test the application first and then I will walk you through the code which I have written. So as of now, there are some of the entries into the database. So there are two entries into the database. Okay, Rakesh, something is there. I will put the one more entry here, Ravi. Okay, age is 56, Ravi at the rate of ymail.com, and the place is something like Kolhapur. Okay, once I hit the submit button, you can probably able to see here about this that there would be the status message, whether it is saved, not saved, error happens, what it is. Perfect. We got the data added to the DB successfully. Let's go ahead and check into the database. Awesome. You can see the entry already added here, right? So overall, there are now three entries that are created into the database. Let's go ahead and walk you through the code which I have written. Yes. So you can see the overall code I have divided into the two parts here. The backend folder is there, front end folder is there. Front end, nothing much. It is only the form which is submitted with some of the data, and the backend endpoint is getting hit. Okay, and from there we are capturing some of the data. Okay, so here you can see this is the form which we have created. Where it is, yes. This is the form which is created. We have certain inputs provided. We have done some validation as well while providing the input over here. Each and every field is required as of now. Okay. After getting all this input, we are going ahead and we are calling this API function, right? The student form, passing the data which we have collected over here in the form of the object. The student form, this is going ahead and hitting backend API endpoint. So backend API is running onto the local host. Backend server is running on the local host 8000, and this is the API endpoint which is gonna hit. And then we'll be gonna get the response from there. This response we are sending back to this content. If there is any kind of error or something, then we are going ahead and send that error as well. Here, this is the only here into the front end. Nothing front end. Let's go through the backend. Okay. So in backend .env file, we already know we some of the informations like port number, database connection strings, username and password kind of thing that already has been saved into the .env file. Then into the source, I have created some of the folders. That is the controller is there, DB, model, routers, and this is our main entry file server.js. So this is the controller. Sorry, this is the model which is created over here, Mongoose model. As of now, we have only 1, 2, 3, 4 entries. Okay, the data representation, that how the data will be visible into the database, for that we created this model. Okay, and we have exported that as well. After then, so the chaining, how the chaining is happening, I will just walk you through. Model is created. Next part is very next part is we have to go ahead and start the server. and connect the database. Okay, so in order to connect the database and start the server, first go ahead and write the database connection logic. So here nothing much, this is the only important things, right? So mongoose.connect and this URL which we have provided the connection strings of the database, and this is the database name which is gonna hit. So this is, I have just replaced the standard URL of the standard connection string URL of the database with the actual database username and password which I have created over there. This database user and password is being saved into .env file. Okay. And if there is any kind of issues while connecting the database, there would be some of the issues coming across. So that is the reason we are looping this into the try catch, and we are capturing the error and we're handling it is right away. Okay. And one more thing here, like yes, this is important to uh, remember always that the database connectivity takes times. Async await will be coming into the picture. This is the one, this is a function which I have created, connect DB, right? So this function will be going ahead and calling into this server.js. This is the entry point of the main application of the backend application. So in this, what I'm going ahead that first like created the application Express app here, right? Nothing much Express. This is one. This is I have just imported .env I need because I have the port number created, like port mentions over there, backend port number, etc. Right. So course is required for the because the front end application is working on the different origin. That is the reason. That is the reason course required. Right. This is the router. I will come to this later on. Okay. So application is created here. App is created. Now we are going ahead and we are just calling this function over here where it is connectable. So we have created one more function here, start server, that is okay. Into that also trying we are using the try catch to handle the errors, and here connect db function will be called first. If the database connection is successful, then only server will be going ahead and starting. Otherwise, server will be not gonna start, and it will straight away go through the cache and it will handle the error over here. So this start server will be going to happen. And before that, we have initiated few of the things over here. Okay, so this is the middleware express.json. Okay, that we required in order to get the data from the request stream on the incoming, and this is the course which I have created for the cross origin resource sharing for that one, because it is the our front end is running onto the different, and server is started. Okay, now the next thing is we have to get the data from the front end, we have to work on the data, and we have to save the data. That each and everything will be gonna happens in the controller. Okay, so as we have mentioned into the front end, we are hitting into the backend endpoint, that is the slash API slash student slash save. So that endpoint we have mentioned. So as we see from the front end, we tried hit the endpoint, that was the localhost 8000 slash yes, that was the endpoint, right? I will just show you. So slash API slash student slash save, right? That was the endpoint we tried to hit in order to communicate with that particular API. Okay, so here we have created the routing. Okay, so student router which is being created here, and that router we have created the routing into the router. Student routers is here slash save the endpoint we have created here, and into that we have this logic. So once this endpoint hit, then what actually gonna should happen over. For that reason, this function we have specifically written into the controller, because there will be main logic will be running across. So in this controller function, what will be going to happen? We are reading the data from the front end, which is coming from the front end, right? Request, payload, body. So name, age, email, places, these are the things. The structure happened here, object structure, okay, from the body. And then if it is blank or empty or kind of things, then we are getting the error. Like we are right away handling the errors over here, sending the response to the front end. Okay, and here we have done some of the validation for the email. Email is not into the format. Okay, then also we are sending response error. Okay, front end. Next we have this. We are going ahead and we are saving this data into the database. If the database operation is successful, we are responding back. Data added to the DB successfully. This was the message. It was visible the front end after we hit that submit button, right? And if this is fail, the operation fails, then the error message sent to the front end. So the linking, how the linking will be going to happen? Okay, this controller, whatever the logic which is written, that controller which is there will be called into the routers. Okay, to this endpoint. So for this endpoint, slash API slash student slash save, if any of the application which is allowed by the course, okay, which hitting endpoint, then whatever the controller or logic is written over execute. Okay, so everything we are going ahead and doing this one controller. Other things like middlewares and etc. helper function, starting server, these all things we are doing in server.js file, right? So that is pretty much, I hope, got the clarity. This is as of now to save the data into the database, going ahead, updating, deleting, or reading the data, but it is very much simple. In order to, like, in the future, if you wanted to go ahead and perform the other operations as well, delete kind of things, then we should have the specific content for that as well again, and we should have the controller as well, different controller and endpoints for that each and everything, okay, into the routers. That is one. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.